Hey everyone, it's Brandy and welcome back to my channel, Brandy Janae's Bookshelf. And as you can tell from the title of this video, I'm going to be doing my mid-month wrap-up today. It's actually going to be like a little bit over mid-month wrap-up by a couple days, only because I was reading a series and I finished off the series like a couple days after the halfway point for the month, so I decided I would just talk about all of that together. I do have 18 books to talk about today, but I don't think that this will be like super long, just because, like I said, a good portion of the books that I read were a part of a series and I'm not going to give individual details about that. So besides the series, I do have 4 other books to talk about. The first book that I finished this month and the first book I finished this year was Into the Fire by Janine Frost. A little bit about this book. This is the 4th and final book in the Night Prince series, which is a spin-off of the Night Huntress series. That initial series is following Cat and Bones. If you don't already know that, the first book is called Halfway to the Grave. I'm not going to get into that, obviously, because that isn't this. But this one is following Vlad and a character named Layla. Vlad does make an appearance in that initial series. Layla has these powers where she's able to see into like past, present, and future when she touches certain objects, and that's how they end up getting connected in the first book. And just in case you are interested in this book or the series and you haven't already read them, just heads up for spoilers. I will put a timestamp on the screen to let you guys know when I'm done talking about the synopsis of this, because it is a spoiler for at least the previous book. So in this book, Layla is linked to a necromancer because of a spell that was placed on her in the previous book. And at the beginning of the story, the necromancer who she's linked to ends up getting captured and tortured, and they're pretty much trying to figure out who these people are and why they captured the necromancer. I think on Goodreads I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. Realistically, I would probably give this one like a 3, maybe a 3.5, just because compared to the rest of the series, I wasn't as into this one as the previous ones. There were definitely some good moments, but I feel like by the time I got to this one, I was kind of just over the book or over the series, and I think that had a lot to do with my mood. I was still trying to come out of the funk that I was in with my reading and just life in general. So I wasn't really that into this series. I think it was partially to do with my mood. Also, I think I did not connect with Vlad and Layla as much as I connected with Cat and Bones. Overall, I enjoyed the series. It wasn't my favorite, or at least the series wasn't my favorite, but I'm still a fan of Janine Frost, and I will probably continue to read her other books that she comes out with. Which moves me into the next book that I finished in January, which was Shades of Wicked by Janine Frost, and this is the first book and another spinoff, and this one is the Night Rebel series, and this one is following Ian and Veritas, who both make appearances in the Night Huntress series. This is kind of hard because as you started getting, I think, into more of the series, especially the later books, there are definitely spoilers for other ones, and this specific book is going to be a spoiler for the last book of the Night Prince series, which is this one that I just talked about. I will leave a timestamp once again if you haven't read this and you don't want to know anything. But in this final book, there is a conflict where Vlad has to kill this really powerful vampire, and there is this whole big plot that he comes up with, and he pretends to kill this character off. And because of this, Ian ends up summoning this demon, and he basically sells his soul to bring this character back to life. Turns out that the character wasn't actually dead. It was all a big play to try to get things to go a certain way. Obviously Ian didn't know that, and now he is stuck with this deal that he's struck with this demon, and he only has 2 years before his soul is forfeit to this demon. On the other hand, Veritas is actually trying to kill this demon. She's been trying to kill this demon, I think, for like thousands of years, but she has never been able to figure out how to track the demon. It's like specific reasons why she hasn't either been able to find the demon or she hasn't been able to kill him. So she decides that she's going to use Ian's situation to find this demon and kill him. Obviously, she doesn't really know all of the details about why exactly this demon is after him, but she sets out to find him, and they end up agreeing to work together in order to kill this demon. So this book is not super long at all. It was under 300 pages. I did end up listening to the audiobook for this one as well. I will say that I wasn't really sure what to expect going into this, because Ian was one of those characters who kind of had his ups and downs, and then we get to see him in this book in a completely different light, and I absolutely love this. I gave this 5 stars. It was just something about this. It wasn't too much. Like, she didn't try to overdo it, and even though, like I said, it wasn't long at all, and I appreciated that she didn't try to do too much with it, because it was perfect the way it was. And I believe the second book in this series is coming out this month. I don't know, because I hadn't read it yet. Like, I hadn't read this yet, so I didn't have it pre-ordered, but I'm gonna have to check on that and possibly pick it up, because I don't think I will have ordered it before it comes out. But this was amazing. I loved it. 5 stars, and I can't wait to read the next book, because things gotta look crazy. So yeah, glad I'm all caught up with her series that she has out now. I don't know if she has any other books besides these series that focus on this, like, all in the same world, but if so, I'm gonna have to check that out. But for now, yes, definitely I would recommend this series. The next book that I finished is Everyone's Getting Married, Volume 1 by Izumi Miyazano. You might have seen me talk about this. This was technically a reread for me. Just as a refresher, this is following a character named Asuka, who is a successful businesswoman. However, she dreams of being a homemaker for her future husband and kids. She had this specific lifestyle growing up, and she wants to be able to provide that for her future family. However, at the beginning of the story, her boyfriend of, I believe, like 5 years breaks up with her, because he pretty much says that she's more obsessed with getting married. Like, she's more worried about getting married than getting married to him specifically. And then he also mentioned that he wanted to quit his job and go pursue his dreams of being an actor or something like that. So he's pretty much like, yeah, I'm not down for what your vision for life is. So that that kind of ruins her plans. But at the same time, she meets this guy named Ryu, and I don't have their last names written down, but Ryu is a popular newscaster, but he's just come back into town, and he's actually friends with one of her co-workers, I believe, and he has the complete opposite views of her. He does not believe in marriage at all. He says that it's a hindrance to what relationships are supposed to be. So they realize that they are attracted to each other, and they have this connection, and despite their differing views, they decide to end up trying to date. Obviously, like I said, they have different opinions on, like, long-term goals pretty much. However, you could tell that they both accept each other for what they view, and it's going to be interesting to see how it progresses. Like, I have a feeling how it's going to end up because of the title and the type of story that it is, but this is a 9-volume series, and it's gonna be a journey to get there. I gave this one 4 stars. Like I said, it was a reread for me. The next one that I have to talk about is An Incurable Case of Love, Volume 2 by Maki and Joji. This one is following this nurse named Nanasi. I believe that's how you say it. Sorry. Anyway, moving on. She actually decided to become a nurse after seeing this young doctor save this lady on the side of the road one day. And for the 5 years after that moment, she has done everything that she could to become a nurse so she could get closer and work with this doctor. and she has been in love with him for the past 5 years. And when she finally starts working at the same hospital with him and has the opportunity to actually work with him as a nurse, she realizes that he isn't like the sweet doctor that she thought he was, and that ends up causing quite a bit of issues between them. However, it's also kind of clear to the reader that he cares for her more than any of the other nurses that he works with. This is absolutely adorable. I've mentioned before that I enjoy this author's, like, her style of storytelling. She does have this thing where she has the male character slap the female character to kind of snap them out of a crazy moment. It doesn't happen in this volume. It happens in the first one. That's kind of annoying because the same thing can be achieved without like him physically putting his hands on her in that situation. But I think that's used as a comic relief, but I don't think that's okay. But besides that, I think her storytelling is really good, and I just love this, and I wish that I could just have the entire story right now, because waiting on each of these volumes is kind of sad, and I'm just like, I want it. I love my romance, and romance mangas are one of the best things ever, and I want to see more from them. Anyway, I gave this one, what did I give this? I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. And the last section of books that I have to talk about are part of the series that I mentioned that I read during the first half of the month. Now, I did read these in between all of the other books that I talked about, but because I have so many, I figured I would just talk about all of them together. And that is the 13 and a half books of the Chicagoland Vampire series by Chloe Neal. So this series starts off following 27-year-old Merritt, who is a grad student, and obviously from the title of the series, she's living in Chicago. At the beginning of the story, she is walking across her school campus when she gets attacked, and because of that attack, she is turned into a vampire without her consent. From then on, we're pretty much following Merritt as she gets into a lot of drama because she is in the middle of things, because she was named the new sentinel of the Cadogan house. And like I mentioned, there are 13 books. I'm not going to get into details for each of the books. I will go through each of the books though and give you ratings for each of them. So first was Some Girls Bite, and I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. Then I have Friday Night Bites, which I gave also 3 out of 5 stars. Twice Bitten, which I gave 4 stars. Hard Bitten, also gave this one 4 stars. Drink Deep, which I gave 4 stars. Biting Cold, I gave 3.5 stars. House Rules, another 3.5 stars. Biting Bad was 4 stars. Wild Things was 4 stars. Blood Games was 4 stars. Dark Debt was 4 stars. Midnight March was 4 stars. Blade Bound, which was the final full-length novel in the series, also gave this one 4 stars. And then finally I read Slaying It, which was 13.5, I think, technically. I gave that one 3 stars. With all of these books, I did listen to them on Audible through the Audible Escape program. Like I said, I'm not going to get into any more details about these books, mainly because I did, for actually all of the books that I talked about today in this video, I have reviews up for them on Goodreads. It's not like super lengthy reviews, but I gave my quick thoughts on all of these books in some way on Goodreads. I'm gonna hopefully keep up with that for the rest of the year. We'll see. But yeah, those are all the books that I finished during the first half of January. But before I go, I do want to check in with books that I'm currently reading. I figured I might try to start doing this if I'm in the middle of books, just so you guys can get a idea of where I am compared to my TBR. I'm not going to redo my TBR, but just the books that I'm currently reading. So right now I have started The Immortal Rules by Julie Kagawa. The only other book that I'm currently reading at the moment is The Guinevere Deception by Kirsten White, which is a book that came in my December Outcrate box. I think that's all I have to talk about with you guys in this specific video. Let me know if you have read any of the books that I talked about in this video. Also, let me know what you have read so far during this month. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to see more from me, make sure you subscribe and click the bell so you'll know when my video goes up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys again in the next one. Bye.